Hi, I'm Debbie with Impression 5 Science Center, and I'd like to welcome you to Sensory Friendly Science. This is a place where we explore some ideas and activities you can do for home learning, although we look forward to seeing you at the Science Center soon. I'd like to start today by talking about a sensory path. You may have seen sensory paths before. There is something that's widely variable where you set up a course for students to follow as they're moving through something. And these can take on a variety of shapes. Some of them are very educational, where you step on the letters to do the ABCs or to do math problems. The one I've designed today is more of a brain break. It's a chance for a student to reset themselves when they're done with an activity and they need a chance to move their bodies and explore for a few minutes before we settle down to something else. And this is something that parents can make or educators can make, but it's also something kids can make. They often really enjoy being a part of something like this. I try to incorporate a few different things. What happens and what you need for your child is not necessarily the same as what we've done here, and the sensory path that we made here is rather long. It's long to showcase all of the different things we thought we might want to show you, but one does not have to be very long. It can be something small. It can be something you create inside with an obstacle course or with papers laid out. It's something where you can write instructions, but it's also something where, for children who don't read, you can create something that they instinctively follow. We try to have them be open-ended, so there's sometimes more than one right answer. And we try to include a variety of different things, and I try to mix them up. So we often have heavy work in gross motor skills. We try to have some fine motor skills as well. We try to have a variety of different movements, spinning movements and balancing movements and lateral motion. We also try to have some activities where they cross the midline with their body. And we try to have some mindfulness and breathing exploration in there. And I like to have some choices. Not big choices, but low stakes choices, like whether you want to be a tortoise or a hare. Things that give them a chance to explore what they're doing. We do have a copy of the activities that I put in there, and I'll try to make sure that's linked with this video. But I'll show you the path that we made. I will say we started with a sensory audit, because sometimes when we go outside at my house, there are a whole lot of different things that can affect your senses. So we started for a minute talking about, with my child, what they could smell, what they could hear, what other things were distractions. We did it on a day when it was very bright and sunny. We did it on a day where there were lots of smells from pollen and leaves, and a day when because it was bright and sunny, there were lots of neighbors doing yard work. So those sorts of things affect how the path feels certain days, but you have a variety of ways you can combat that, and sometimes it's just nice to name them so you can explore them. So here's our sensory path. Here, and we jump. We try to lead things somewhat open-ended so you can jump in the order that it kind of looks like it goes, but if a kid does something different, that is absolutely fine. Then for some vestibular motion and some other gross body movements, gross motor movements, we come over here and we do spin. And then we have trace, where you can follow the crayons. We've used hands, we've used feet, we've used other pieces of chalk. That makes some cross body motion happen, and it's some fine motor skills there. Then we come over here and balance across a color on the rainbow. It gives them a chance to make a choice and to use some of those balancing movements. At the end of our cloud, we say deep breaths blow on each cloud. That helps us get some mindful breathing and be aware of our body and how we're reacting. And this is hop and explore. I find when you put hopscotch out, you don't have to give a lot of explanation. Kids will automatically do it, but we put some nature items we had been exploring, especially how they felt and smelt today on these. And then we had make a picture. We gave choices here, actually. There's our bucket of sidewalk chalk, but there's also a container that just has water in it and a paintbrush, because we were painting with water on our sidewalk earlier. Over here we said to do 4 wall push-ups. This is a heavy work and gross motor skill. So here are our handprints to do push-ups, footprints where to stand, and then right here, do a high five. And then we have another choice here. Here we have be a tortoise or a hare.
We have a slow and steady route, and we have a winding quick route. And over here we again have some choices on how you choose to go through it, but I find that if you leave kids an open way of doing this, they will do it on their own. So they'll balance, jump, spin across here. And we have be a tree, grow for 3 breaths. We've done tree pose and we've talked about growing, and we had going from a seed into tree pose into a standing pose. But again, it's one of those things where your family might have a plan on what to do and you can work with that. The kids might have their own idea on what to do as well. They're great ways to add in things that they want to do here. And then sidestep down the snake. So some horizontal, so side to side motion here. It takes you down here. And then it says heel, toe, walk on the wall. This small garden wall, it's balanced on all of the time, so we decided to use it for something. And then it comes down here with frog jumps. So we have lily pads to jump between. And then stomp like an elephant or sneak like a mouse. Again, we have choices to make here. We've done both today. And then smell the flowers. This gives us some more deep breathing exercises. There are some flowers. There were some real flowers here. There were coffee filter flowers that have been picked up, and there are some perler bead flowers that were made in our house this week. And then we come back for some fine motor skills with tracing. So you can trace with fingers, with a stick, with a toe. Any of those have some cross the midline motion and some fine motor skills. And then walking backwards, so changing how we're moving, being aware of our surroundings. And then 4-4-4 breathing over here. We've done this at my house quite a bit, where you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and out for 4 seconds. You'd want to put something here that your kids are aware of. We've done 4-4 breathing, so I know that it's something that my child's familiar with, but I know that one of her friends, we would call it dragon breathing, and he would know what it meant. So you can make up your own systems for some of these, and then hop across the stars. So one more moving your body movement to the end here. We're going to go through the sensory path again, but my friend is going to demonstrate it for us this time. I hope you enjoyed our sensory path, and I'd love to see what you create. One other tip is that some of my friends preferred wearing gloves when they were working on their path, so that they didn't have the feeling of the chalk on their hands. And we've included a list of the activities I put in our sensory path in the comments to this video. Please feel free to show us what you've made, and we'd look forward to seeing you again soon at Impression 5 Science Center.